A lot of Naruto fans would say that the second half of the manga was made more enjoyable because of the tonal shift by introducing the Akatsuki as a serious threat to Naruto. The group formally began their Jinchuriki hunt at the end of volume 28, and it was then that the stakes rose drastically. Kishimoto had finally created a series of ticking clocks with dire stakes to be had, to use alongside the one that he used for Sasuke. In 3 years, Sasuke was stated to have his body being taken by Orochimaru to be Orochimaru's new vessel, and the Akatsuki were on the move for Jinchuriki, which means that Naruto would eventually be targeted. Every fan theorized about what kind of insane battles we see between the Konoha 11 and the Akatsuki. With that being said, looking back at the various Naruto arcs, one that stands out tremendously is one that felt like it ended a bit too soon. This arc is known as the Akatsuki suppression arc, though a lot of Naruto fans tend to call this the immortal duo arc that focused on Hidan and Kakuzu. If you've ever wondered why this arc went by as quickly as it did, today's video will not only intrigue you but also enlighten you to what went on behind the scenes as to why this arc ended as quickly as it did when it was running weekly and Weekly Shonen Jump all the way back in 2006. 12 years ago, when this arc formally made its debut, spanning chapters 311 all the way to 342, this arc immediately grabbed fans. Asuma's death was a total shock. Naruto was pulled from the focus of the story for a majority of the arc. It was a very ballsy move made by Kishimoto, much like Hunter x Hunter when Togashi pulled Gon from the York arc and the focus was placed on Kurapika. A lot of fans at that time still wanted to see just what Naruto learned during his training with Jiraiya, since the previous arc showed just how much danger the Kyuubi chakra posed. The issue was, we saw the danger of Naruto the Jinchuriki, but we saw next to nothing about Naruto the ninja, which is something that bothered a lot of fans. From their debut, everything about Hidan and Kakuzu captured the interest of fans everywhere. Their designs were beloved by many, and they easily captured Jinchuriki without any whatsoever trouble. Most importantly, Hidan's crazy ritual is what drew in the attention of a lot of fans. Asuma's death led to many thinking that Naruto and Shikamaru would team up to take down the duo, but instead we got one major plan by Shikamaru, which was very well executed, and Naruto finishing Kakuzu in one shot, with the latter leaving an extremely bad taste in the mouth of fans everywhere when it came to Naruto versus Kakuzu. We'd seen Kakashi struggle to destroy 2 of Kakuzu's hearts, and the guy still had spare hearts to use. He was the final boss for an arc who had several extra health bars and all maxed out stats, and it felt like the current roster fighting him didn't have quite enough experience points to take him down. Then, just out of nowhere, Naruto shows up, and all of Kakuzu's hearts were conveniently placed in one area, making it ideal for Naruto to finish him in one shot. It would be almost a decade before we learned the truth behind Kishimoto's decision. Back in 2015, while promoting the Naruto New Era project, Shueisha and Kishimoto had several small events lined up for promotion by the author, talking about the extension of the Naruto story with the series of side projects which included Naruto Gaiden, Naruto the Last, and the Naruto Hidan novels. It was during one of these exhibits that went up just before Naruto Gaiden was slated to come out that Kishimoto spoke at one of these exhibits. It was at one of these extensive interviews, this one being from the Book of Lightning, an extensive and exclusive book that was made available at the Naruto exhibit in Japan, that we learned why this arc was rushed at the end. And it's here that I'm going to go over Kishimoto's quote, and Kishimoto says, "That would be the time that I slipped a disc. Back when I was drawing the Kakuzu fight, back when my lungs weren't in great shape either. Whenever I got tired, I would be wheezing as if I had pneumonia. When I would cough, it would feel like my lower back was hurting. It was tough. In the end, they had to publish the pencil versions of the fight in the Weekly Shonen Jump." End quote. Let's unpack what we just read here. look back at the health problems that Kishimoto was referencing. For those of you who might have never had any major injuries, back problems are absolutely the worst since so much is connected to your back. For someone like Kishimoto to have a back injury while sitting in a chair drawing manga is a nightmare. In one of those passages, he talks about having to draw the manga while on vacation with his family while standing up to avoid flaring up his back. Kishimoto writes an extremely fast pace, but this arc progressively got faster, which can be lined up with the progression of his back issues he was speaking about. His health wouldn't allow him to draw the members of Team 10 and Team 7 teaming up to take down Kakuzu. Having Naruto in one shot allowed him to move on to the next arc a lot faster. To put this into perspective, the previous arcs, we got background information on the Akatsuki, yet in this arc, we learned next to nothing. Many fans still ask about how Hidan became immortal and about Kakuzu's past, and Kishimoto moving on to the next arc allowed him to give more of the work to his assistants, since it should be noted that yes, Kishimoto did have assistants. You have to keep in mind that when it came to the major battles, Kishimoto, much like Eiichiro Oda, likes to do a lot of the heavy work, which would explain why Kishimoto didn't give this part of the story to his assistant. For a perfect example of how Kishimoto did things in the past, look back at the Tenchi Bridge arc. We were just given enough detail about Danzo by various characters that it built up his character for the future while expanding the lore of the series. We also got background information on Sai, and we found out about his relationship to his brother. Yet in this arc, we hardly got anything, which isn't by coincidence. A lot of us hoped that we would get more about Hidan and Kakuzu during this time. Some were even joking that the flashbacks were coming since Naruto had entered the battlefield, but in the end, we got absolutely nothing. Since I'm working on the True Power of series for the Akatsuki, I'll be working on some Naruto decoded videos going over the lesser known details about the Akatsuki members so as to give you guys more information about them, which, just to be clear, there's a lot of info about the Akatsuki that wasn't put in the manga or in the anime. So even if you think you know everything about the Akatsuki, there's still plenty ahead to come in the future that will prove you wrong, or at least make some of you more hardcore fans get brushed up on the lore of the series. One final question I have is for the anime only viewers. Does this make you guys better appreciate all the extra and extensive filler scenes that were added to the Hidan and Kakuzu fights in the anime adaptation for this arc? The manga version of these fights were, when they were published in Shonen Jump, were merely pencil drawings. They were less detailed and there were less action sequences that were added. That's it for my video today, guys. Don't forget to comment, don't forget to rate, subscribe, share, turn on that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. Have an incredible day, guys.